The Witch Queen expansion releases for Destiny 2 tomorrow, and I've heard people saying they would like to get into Destiny, but they're just worried about being too far behind. You are not too far behind, I promise you. This is the best time to get into Destiny 2 right now. It's the best it's been in ages. So if you want to try Destiny 2 out, if you're just curious about it, if you want to join up with your friends who play it, this is the perfect time to get involved. In this video, I'm going to give you all of the information you need to make sure you buy the right version, you buy the right things, you understand what's going on in the story, and you understand everything you need to know to get started. If after watching the video you want to join my clan, there'll be a link in the description below. There'll be people there doing all different types of content, so there'll be people who will be able to help you, people who will be able to explain things to you. So first of all, what do you need to buy to get into Destiny? I think you've got like 4 main options right now, so I'll go through each one and tell you what I think's good and bad about each choice. So first of all, you could just play the free-to-play version. Second of all, you could just buy Witch Queen for about £35. Third, you could buy Witch Queen Deluxe Edition, which is about £70 right now. Or you could go all out and buy absolutely everything. You could buy all of the previous expansions, and you could buy Witch Queen Deluxe Edition, and you could buy like the Bungie 35th Anniversary Pack. You could spend all of your money on all of those different things. So for the first group, if you're just going to buy the free-to-play version, or not even buy it, you just need to install it and it'll work. So with the free-to-play version of the game, you get the main campaign. So you can play the Destiny 2 campaign. It's a lot of fun. It's well worth playing. You can also take part in all of the PvP stuff, so you can do Crucible, and because your level is balanced out among everyone else when you're playing Crucible, it doesn't matter that you won't be able to get some of the gear and stuff like that. Other people will get much more powerful than you. There'll be loads of strikes and stuff you can't do. You'll be able to explore the different areas, including the new one for the expansion, but you won't actually be able to do much there because there's loads of stuff that will be locked off you, especially in terms of quests and strikes and things like that. The second group, if you just want to buy Witch Queen, the base version of the expansion, that's about £35 right now. It can be a different price depending on where you get it from. You might be able to get it a little bit cheaper in some places, but it's about £35. If you get that version, you'll be able to do pretty much everything. So you'll be able to play the new Witch Queen expansion, you'll be able to play all the way through the campaign, you'll be able to play the strikes, you'll get the raid, you'll be able to use all of the gear and stuff like that you can get into it. That's what most people will be doing, so you'll have loads of other people to play through all of that content with. Now, the third option, to buy the Witch Queen Deluxe Edition, this is a little bit different from other deluxe editions. It's not like other games where you just get like an art book or a soundtrack or something like that. This deluxe edition actually has quite a lot of content. So one of the big things is it'll give you access to dungeons. Now, the dungeons are like a challenging type of content. You can do them solo, but most people will do them in groups, and they often give really, really good rewards, and they're really interesting. They're like mini versions of raids, and they're well worth doing. And right now, the only way to do that will be to get the Deluxe Edition. They have said that you'll be able to buy the dungeons separately later, but I think it probably makes sense to get the Deluxe Edition if you're serious about that. Also with Deluxe Edition, you get a special exotic SMG and an exotic Sparrow, and you'll get the first 3 season passes. Now again, you can buy the season passes separately, but the Deluxe Edition is about twice as much as normal version, so it's £70, so an extra 35 quid. The season passes are £15 each, so you are saving a tiny bit of money by buying the Deluxe Edition if you were going to buy all of the season passes anyway. Personally, I think that extra content is worth it. This is a good example of a good Deluxe Edition. It's kind of annoying that some of that content isn't in the normal version of the game, but I guess it kind of makes sense, especially with you getting the battle passes as well. The battle passes, by the way, give you gear and stuff like that, as well as a few little boosts, and they also give you these like weekly missions and extra challenges, so there's extra story that you get in them. The last option is to go out and buy everything. So you're going to go get the Legacy or Legendary Edition, they're both pretty much the same I think, and get the 30th Anniversary Pack, and get the Witch Queen Deluxe Edition. This is going to end up costing at least 120 quid, I think probably a bit more. I know some stuff's on sale on PlayStation right now, and on PC you can get some stuff a bit cheaper, but it's going to cost you quite a lot of money. If you do that, you will be able to play through all of the different campaigns. The big one with that is that you're going to be able to play through the Beyond Light campaign, which will get you the Stasis subclass, which you can't get without buying and playing through that campaign. You won't be able to play through the Forsaken campaign because that's being vaulted, but you will get some items from there. You'll also get a few other extra items and things from the 30th Anniversary Pack, loads of like cosmetic things and exotics and stuff like that. This is a very expensive way to get into Destiny, and to be honest, when the Witch Queen goes live, I can't imagine you'll particularly want to be playing through all of the old campaigns. That wouldn't be a very fun way to get introduced to the game. The campaigns are alright, like, they're not bad. I don't think Beyond Light was the best, and it'll be a bit annoying when, like, all your friends are doing the new stuff and you're just trudging through all of that. I think that's more stuff that you could go back and do if you get really into Destiny and you decide you really want the stasis subclass. You can go back and pick up Beyond Light, or if there's particular exotics that you want, maybe you'll pick up the other expansions for that. There's also very likely to be sales and stuff like that in the future for all of this stuff, so you could probably get it cheaper if you just wait a while. Personally, out of all of these different choices, my recommendation would be to either get the base version of Witch Queen or to get the deluxe edition. If you can afford a deluxe edition or you see a good deal on it, get that, because you get a lot of really good extra stuff in it that will make the game more fun. I definitely think it's worth doing for this if you can afford it, but at least just buy the main version of Witch Queen and you'll be absolutely good to go on Tuesday. The whole thing goes live at 5 PM GMT on Tuesday. That's when they have their like weekly reset, and that's when this expansion will go live. I would fully expect there to be server queues and maybe server problems for the first few hours, so probably on Wednesday is when a lot of people will actually be getting around to playing this. If you watch this video and buy the game straight away, do bear in mind the whole game will go down for maintenance early on Tuesday morning UK time, and then it'll be off for most of the day until the expansion launches. And do remember that if you just buy the Witch Queen, you're starting fresh, there will be one subclass you won't be able to use. So if you see stuff in the game referring to the stasis subclass, or you see people recommending the stasis subclass for some encounter in the raid or something like that, the only way to get that currently is to get the Beyond Light expansion and to play through that campaign. It's kind of annoying, it takes like 5 or 6 hours to do, but it is the only way to get that subclass at the moment. Hopefully you won't need it. I'm hoping with the Void rework, that'll be the focus of the new expansion, and you won't need stasis to get on, but that is the only way to get it right now. So now you've picked up Witch Queen, you've downloaded Destiny 2, but now you're probably worried, aren't you going to be way behind all of the people that have been playing for years? To be honest, not really. The light level cap, which is like your power level for Destiny, in the last expansion was 1330, and people could push past that using the artifact that gave you extra levels. Every season the artifact is reset anyway, so the 1330 is everyone's like base level, that's the highest level their gear was at. With the new expansion, all gear is going to be set to 1350, including your starter gear, so as soon as you start the game you'll be given a set of gear, that will be at 1350, so you'll automatically be at the same level as everyone else in the game. Now that isn't entirely true, because obviously people who have been playing for years will have some exotics that you won't have, so weapons that have some extra functions can do some fancy things. They'll also have armor with fancy rolls on it, so fancy stats, so they will be marginally more powerful. But to be honest, none of that matters unless you're really pushing for the very hardest content. So if you're trying to be the first in the world to complete the raid, or you're trying to do the very, very difficult content that comes into the game, then you probably want all of that absolutely maxed out gear. But if you're just playing it to have fun, you want to play with your friends, you want to see all of the content, you'll be absolutely fine without all of that stuff that people have. Destiny's actually pretty good about helping you to catch up, so if there are exotics that are really important, that seem really overpowered compared to everything else from previous games, they often have mechanics to help you get them. Like there's tokens you can earn from doing different activities that let you get them, and there's this merchant that comes into the game every weekend called Zer, who sells old exotics. So there probably will be ways to get some of the old ones if you start playing and think you're missing out. But generally, you will be at the same level as everyone else, which is why this is the best time to get into Destiny. Whenever a new expansion comes out, it's an amazing time where everyone's playing at kind of a level. And of course, some people will race ahead and some people will get powerful quickly, but the vast majority of people will all be enjoying and exploring this content together. So the last big hurdle for people, the big thing that might put people off, is thinking, how am I going to understand the story? There's been 2 games, there's been loads of expansions, aren't I going to be completely lost in the story? And it's like, yes, kind of, but no more than 99% of people who have been playing the game the whole time. The Destiny story is definitely very, very interesting. There's some amazing world building there. I really love it. But it's super hard to understand, and they've told it terribly throughout the years. So most people use a YouTuber called My Name is Biff. It's well worth going to his YouTube channel. He has these hour-long videos that explain absolutely everything you could ever want to know. You can watch catch-up videos that'll probably take 2 or 3 hours that explain everything. But in this video, I'll do a very quick sort of Cliff Notes version of the story for you. I'll explain everything you need to know going into this expansion. So Destiny is set in our world, but it's in the future. There's a bunch of alien species and they're generally plotting to kill us all or wipe us out or invade, and we've killed a lot of them. The whole story kind of takes place in the solar system. All the stuff that we see happens in our solar system. At one point a long time ago, humanity was spreading out across the solar system. There was like this golden age where we had new technology and we were really powerful. But then we were pushed back to the verge of extinction. And we were saved by the Traveler, which is this giant white sphere that hovers over the last city on Earth. So humans were like very close to being defeated when this thing turned up. And you can see, if you go to the tower in game, you can see the giant white orb there. That is the Traveler. It has mysterious powers that in game are generally referred to as the Light, including these little floating robots that are called ghosts that can resurrect living things and give them a bit of the light power from the Traveler, letting them sort of have magic abilities basically. People resurrected by ghosts are called Guardians, and that's what you are as players. We are Guardians. We have these light abilities to go around saving humanity from all different kinds of alien threats. One of the biggest threats is called the darkness. It's sort of the opposite of the light, and it's often portrayed by these big mysterious pyramids that float through space, and you can see that there's one on like Europa, there's a big one there. And there seems to be this ongoing battle between the darkness and the light that we don't fully understand. Up until the last expansion, the darkness had always been seen as kind of just the enemy, as evil, and you know, the Traveler was good. In the last expansion, Beyond Light, we actually started using some of the darkness abilities. So we had this new subclass, Stasis abilities, that use the darkness power. And we started getting the impression that maybe the darkness isn't entirely bad, and maybe the light isn't entirely good. And I think that's a kind of theme that's going to carry on into this expansion. Another one of the big threats are the 3 Hive gods. They're called Oryx, Zivararath, and Savathun, and Savathun is the Witch Queen, the one that this new expansion's all about. They're massively powerful beings, and they used to have this weird sort of symbiotic relationship with these worms that they found, and the worms gave them insane amounts of power in exchange for an ever-increasing amount of tribute and violence needing to be carried out. So that slowly drove these 3 mad, where they were really struggling to keep up with the demands of the worms. Savathun in the last expansion was trapped in this crystal, and we sort of had her at the tower. She'd possessed a character called Osiris, and she'd sort of made a deal with us that if we freed her from her worm, we performed this exorcism, she'd return Osiris to us. And so that seemed like an okay deal, so that's what we did in the last season. We ended up freeing Savathun from this crystal, separating the worm in this sort of exorcism, so removing the worm from her, and then one of the characters, Mara Sol, who's the kind of leader of the Dreaming City, that's another area in the game, she wanted to kill Savathun after we separated her from the worm, but Savathun was too clever for that, too tricksy. She teleported away and disappeared back to her throne world, which is the big new area in this expansion. So throne worlds are like little pocket dimensions, like little universes controlled by one being. So Savathun's throne world is her own little universe. If we killed Savathun in our universe, she would just retreat to the throne world. She would just reform there. But if we kill her in her throne world, then she dies for good. And that's what we did to Oryx, who was like her sister or brother or something, her sibling. So we destroyed one of them already doing this. And it looks like in this expansion, we're probably going to be doing that. Savathun's known for being like tricksy and tricking people and using illusions and stuff like that. So a lot of the marketing is about like seeing through her lies. So obviously throughout the story, she'll probably be promising a load of stuff, and then we'll end up needing to fight her or stop her from becoming too powerful. Now, all of that's happening at the same time as this kind of weird mystery about what's going on with the darkness and the light. And it seems like some of Savathun's warriors are actually going to be using the light abilities against us. So they have some of the same abilities as what the players do, which that's going to make things kind of interesting. That again, the light is normally seen as something good, but now the bad guy's using them. And they actually have their own ghosts. There's this new cool like mechanic where some enemies, when you kill them, you then have to destroy their ghosts to stop them from being able to resurrect. So that's basically the whole story so far. Like I said, there's hours and hours and hours of this stuff. There's loads more. Go check out My Name is Biff, and you will see there's tons more stuff. There's tons more detail. But that's the basic gist of it that you need to understand in order to be able to enjoy The Witch Queen. So now you know everything that you need to get into it. Go buy whichever version you think you need. Like I said, I think if you can afford it, the deluxe edition is definitely going to be worthwhile, especially if you're pretty sure, like, you've got a group of friends, you're pretty sure you're going to stick with this for a while. Get a deluxe edition. If you're just trying it out, maybe just buy the normal edition. And if you want to join me while I'm streaming The Witch Queen, I'll be streaming it from Tuesday, so that's tomorrow when this video is going up, and it'll be 5 PM GMT when this all goes live. I know the servers will mess up, but we're going to try and play some and do the campaign then. And then on March 5th, that's when the first raid goes live, and I'll be trying to complete that with my friends, trying to get through the whole thing without any extra help or anything like that, so we'll be working it out. Those of you who are into like Warzone Easter eggs or Zombies Easter eggs, it's like that, but much harder and much more interesting and much better made. So it's really, really exciting stuff if you like that kind of content. So make sure you check it out, twitch.tv/geekypastimes. Don't forget to leave a like on this video, subscribe, turn your notifications on. There'll be a bunch more Destiny content over the next few weeks as we explore this expansion.
Is yours.